And we are back for another 15-minute chat. Very excited about this one today. Obviously sponsored by SW Resources, swreco.com. All of your e-commerce supplies. Make sure you head over there and check it out. Got some good deals on at the moment. Right, so today we've got Chris on. I've been dying to get a hot clothing seller on the 15-minute interviews, and this is the guy. When I say this is a hot seller, he's gonna be very modest about things. And I've probably gone muted for a second. But let's see if it connects. Technical issues, obviously. Chris,
Hello. Can you? I can't see.
it's loading slowly. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
2 seconds. I'll try and restart.
What would the 15-minute live be without some technical difficulties? Anyway, so yeah, Chris is coming on. This guy, I've been admiring his work ethic from a distance. We got connected, I think, over those last 15-minute interviews. He come to me through ClickRight through Josh, and I've just been admiring his work ethic on Instagram ever since. And is it going to work this time? Give me one moment, guys, to get this work up and running. Incoming, here he is. Chris,
Hello.
how's it going? We can hear you and see you.
The sound all right with the headphones on?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us.
No worries.
So how's it going today?
Yeah, not too bad. Done a bit of sourcing today, as always. Quite a chill day today. Not as good as usual, but it swings and roundabouts in it. You have those days where it's a little bit less.
Yeah, I was just
quality.
I've been admiring your work ethic. I think since we got connected, I think it was the last 15-minute lives through ClickRight through
It
Josh.
was, yeah.
And I remember the one that stands out to me, which I always think of, is when you drove like an hour and a half to a car boot, and you're like, I didn't find anything, but I went there and checked anyway. Like if you don't go, don't check. A lot of people before you go, they're like, I probably won't find anything. There's no point going. But I seen that and I was like, this guy, this is my people. Do you know what I mean? People that go and find out. So I love that. So let's get on with the first question. What I've been wondering myself is, when you walk into a charity shop or a car boot, let's go charity shops first.
Yeah.
When you enter the charity shop, what is your process? Where do you head first? What are you looking for? Have you got a list of brands in your head? How does it?
All of the above. So basically, when I walk in, the first thing that I always do is go straight to the men's section. When I first started doing reselling, it was clothing and it was men's. That was my only go-to. I used to walk in, do the men's section, and then I would leave. Over the last 2 months, I've put a lot of emphasis on myself on learning brands and styles, even down to like with women's clothes, for instance, necklines, closures, like all this different stuff, like plays a big part on the value of some of the clothes that they'll wear.
Wow.
Whereas men are a little bit more basic, as you well know.
Yeah.
We'll just it's Henry Lloyd will wear it, like that's pretty much it. There isn't well this has got two stripes around the edge of the collar and all this sort of stuff. It doesn't usually make too much difference. So when I go into a charity shop, it will be straight in, go to the men's section. Then I'll peruse the women's section. Again, I'm still learning on that and still trying to build up a knowledge base there. And then if I can be bothered, I will then go to electronics and like ceramics and stuff like that. With ceramics, I'll never buy anything. I always just look just for the sake of looking. And one of the main reasons I got into clothing in general was because when it comes to like charity shops, for instance, it's so easy for them to research anything that isn't clothing. So electricals, if you've got a Sony, it's usually a DA760. They can just type that into eBay, Google, whatever, and they can find a valuation in their mind. So with clothing, it's very difficult for them to know every single brand. And then obviously there's a lot of nuances within brands and there's a lot of nuances within clothes in general.
Yeah. Right. So are you searching up on eBay when you see an item? Like because I've seen a few times you buy quite high value things in charity shops. Like the charity shop might have 75 quid, but you're like, but 200 quid or 300 quid.
Yeah.
a lot of people would leave, oh, it's a charity shop, 75 quid is too much. You're finding the value there. So are you searching these things
Yeah.
up
So
in the shop?
the main process, I'll go back to the very start when I first started reselling. I got into watching Chaddy Pete, who
Yeah.
was he just did clothes essentially, like 90% clothes. And one of the things that he always used to say is you build up your no bank, and then that means that the yes bank is getting bigger.
Mhm.
So if you're going through the rails, you can go no, 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 M&S, that sort of TU,
That's,
like the old school, the supermarket brands, and then you'll get to a brand that you either know or you don't,
mhm.
and they sort of fall in the same category where it's, if you know the brand, like for instance Hark Killer is a fantastic brand. It's like a hunting outdoor wear brand. Now I know that Hark Killer, for instance, pretty much anything that they do sells well. Boots sell really well, trousers sell really well, jumpers sell really well, but there are nuances in there. So like a wool jumper will sell for more than a cotton jumper, and so forth. So you still have to search it, unless it's super cheap. If you're getting a Hark Killer jumper for a fiver, the minimum is going to be £35. So like that's in my bank, and that I know. But for instance, barber jackets, what charity shops tend to do is they will just structure a price for barber jackets. So I've got a local, and they just go 25 or 30 quid depending on condition, and that's all the same. I went to one, and they had it's called a bucks wash, or something like that, and it's a barber this, and it's a full leather coat, and they had it priced at 60 quid, and most people would look at that and go, not a chance. But I found the exact same coat in the exact same size, and the very last one sold for £239.
There you
So
go.
I'm okay with paying up as
Mm.
long as the return's going to be there, or it sells super quickly.
Yeah, and that's one that other, like you said, other people are probably leaving that one. Like for
Yeah,
me, yeah,
absolutely.
I'll think barber 60 quid. Yeah, it's probably not that, but like you said, there's nuances inside those brands.
Yeah,
So with women's clothes, you're still learning.
yeah, it's a
Uh, yeah,
struggle.
it's you're saying it's way more complex than men's
It,
clothes.
it's so more complicated, because like if I was, obviously with men's clothes and stuff, you have like a polo shirt. I know what a polo shirt looks like. You know what a normal crew t-shirt is, and that with women's they have different collar types, they have different sleeve types, they have different hem types. There's a thing that I learned the other day, which is peplum, which is basically like it gets to like the belly button area, and then it starts to frill out, and that's called peplum,
Okay.
which is something that you'd want to put in the title, because people specifically look
Yeah.
for that. If they're a little bit bigger on the belly, or they're pregnant, etc., then they would look for that, because it's a little bit more like hiding of the size. So there's all these different intricacies, even down to color. Like I know, I watch a lot of female content on Instagram, and they're talking about neutral tones, neutral tones. That's
Mm.
all you're hearing at the moment. So when you're out and about, I'm naturally looking at the beiges and the light
Wow.
browns, the tans, that sort of thing, because in my head I'm thinking, and a lot of the information I get is just content, content, content. I'm always on Instagram looking at everything. I watch more YouTube videos than I care to remember. There isn't a Chaddy Pete video that's been uploaded to YouTube that I haven't watched every single minute of at least once, because I'm
So
there
you're,
and I'm just constantly trying to
you're
learn.
not mindlessly scrolling social media. You're learning all the
Exactly
time. When
that.
you're learning from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, one of the things that set me apart, I'm friends with a few people in the community, with resellers and stuff. Like I speak to Harry quite a lot. I resell stuff, and his knowledge. He's been doing this for 10 years. I've only been doing it for 2, and his knowledge exceeds mine by tenfold.
Mhm.
But what I have is some people don't have, or have less of, is I have such a work ethic and a desire to prove my old self wrong. Not even other people, just my old me. I
Yeah.
was lazy and I didn't do this and I didn't do that, and then all of a sudden I've gotten this drive and I've gotten this sort of interest and passion, and it's almost like I'm trying to prove the past me wrong, and I'm trying to go like, you know what, I'm going to work harder, I'm going to learn
I
more.
can relate to that
Yeah,
big time.
yeah.
I love that.
So
So a comment we had in the chat was, when you're going up to the counter, do you ever negotiate on price, or are you just paying exactly what it
I
says?
have I have I have a sort of system in place where, like, a lot of charity shops I go to, I just don't bother.
Hmm.
But I'm also on the eye, so on the labels now in a lot of charity shops, they need to know how long the items have been out
Right.
for. So they have the week on there. So if it's been up for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks,
Yeah.
then you can look at it and go, I can try and push it. Sometimes they'll flat out turn around, as long as you're happy with being told to
Yeah.
off. Because a lot of them just go, we do not negotiate,
Yeah.
that's the price, right? It's a charity shop, it's for charity, blah blah blah.
You
You get all of that.
go jokingly say it, you know, oh, can you do this for like in a jokey sort of way, and then they're like, oh no, you know,
Yeah, sometimes I have a couple of locals in my
yeah,
town, like my local town, where I'll go in and I'll just openly turn around to one of the managers and be like, "Oh, this is 20 quid. We do it for 15, and I'll take it today.
yeah,
If not, cool, no worries." And sometimes they'll say yes, and sometimes they'll say no. A lot of it depends on mood, how long they've had it for, or how much interest they've had on it in the last couple of days or so.
and any of them question you when you buy these women's clothes, these neutral
No,
colours?
absolutely
No,
nobody, because contrary to public
yeah,
belief, nobody cares what you're doing. Like
yeah,
you could walk down the street and you could be in London filming away, vlogging, waffling. You could be talking all sorts of random stuff, and not one person could give a shiny what you're
yeah,
doing, because guess what? You know, and I know because I'm the same. Is that you're so focused on what you're doing and yourself and all that I've walked past hundreds of people today and I can't remember one of them. So,
yeah,
like, when you're walking into the shop and you're picking up women's clothes or this, that, and the other, some of them we might be like, "Oh, you'll be able to get a good price for that on eBay," and I'll go, "Yeah, I
yeah,
should be able to." Like, you're blasé about it, and a lot of people will just tell them what they do,
yeah,
because sometimes that leads to. I've got a friend who tells everybody, and he gets in the maddest situations because he'll tell a charity shop member who's got a brother that's selling this, and he'll end up in their house 2 days later.
yeah,
Whereas I'm a little bit more discreet about it, so maybe I need to be a bit more vocal
yeah,
about it and really tell people.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so you get the clothes from the charity show, you're taking them home. Do you have any tips for people on listing clothes? Because I know for me
Yep.
personally, listing toys, you scan the barcode, you photograph, it's very quick. Do
Yes.
you put
Yeah.
measurements? Like, how are you listing
So
clothes?
my process is always the same. I've got a clothing rail that'll hold about 45 to 50 items of clothing on hangers. And I'm very fortunate that my wife will she will do all the drafts. So if they're on the hanger, we have one empty hanger, and then we have like a full rail, and then every time she does one item, she'll move it to the left of the empty hanger so that I know it's ready to be
Right.
pictured. So she'll draft them all up, and they'll all be empty with no pictures. They'll all be priced up and everything, and then I just go to them, hang them on the wall, picture, 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 chuck them on my table. I then put the pit to pit measurement in, take the picture, same with the length. Then they go into a clear poly bag. If they're difficult to understand what they are, so sometimes they're just jumpers that are black. You just write the brand on it, what size it is, chuck it into an IKEA bag, and then later on, when I add the pictures to the items, they get skewed up when they get thrown in the
Yeah.
storage unit.
So you've got quite an
It's
organized system there.
very, very organised, yeah.
How many listings do you have on eBay at the moment? Do
So
you
I've
know?
actually had a massive cull. Before Christmas, it was
Wow.
580. I went and did a stock take, and I found 85 items that were not listed that had previously been
Hmm.
listed. But for some reason, eBay have this thing where if there isn't a lot of traction on an item, they'll just whip it off the store and not tell you.
Yeah.
So I found 85 unlisted. Then I started Whatnot, so I pulled a lot of good items off the store for that. And then I also culled about 100 that weren't doing particularly well on eBay. So at the moment, it's about the 350 mark.
So would you take the 100 that weren't doing well? Would you take them back to the charity shop?
So a lot of them will go to Whatnot, and a lot of them have. A lot of them sold for £1, £2. But at this point, I'm at the point where
Get
it's
rid of
like,
it.
it is what it is. It's free money for me. And then if they don't sell on Whatnot for £1, they go into the charity shop, and then I.
So what's Whatnot? I've heard a lot about this.
So it's an online selling app. People can bid on your items. Essentially, you just run an item, a little bit like QVC. You get like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and you advertise the item. You tell everybody what it is. If they want it, they'll slide on their phone and they'll bid on it. Highest bidder wins, and then you ship out the item the next day.
So you're
That's it.
holding the items up live, and people have got
Yep.
first to say yes or no.
People are selling 100, 150 items in the space of 3 hours.
Wow.
Now the value might not be there. There might not be like a crazy amount of like value in it, and you are getting undercut to what you could sell on eBay. But the money and the quick turnaround, if you can get cheap stock quick,
Wow.
it's profit
That's
and it's money very quickly.
so how are you getting viewers to your Whatnot, or do people just view it?
A lot of it is initially it's traction, initially it's giveaways, and obviously if you're someone who's on Instagram and has got a relatively good following, couple of thousand, you can always, I do a little bit of promo on mine. I've not got like huge following on Instagram, but I'll do a little bit of promo. I'll show the good items.
Hmm.
I'll like get 5 or 6 out and go, these are some of the better items, and then people could come in and go, well, actually, I'm a reseller. I'll
Hmm.
come in and see what he's got, and then they'll bid on it and stuff like that. That's how I've sort of done
Where,
it.
where can people find your Whatnot before we wrap it
Uh,
up? Where can people?
just go on, if you just download Whatnot,
Hmm.
Type in Lightwork Resells. In fact, if you're on my stories, then I usually just like tag it quite a lot. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'd
Are you
find
there
it.
regularly on whatnot? Are you
So I
like a
was doing 2 shows a week. I've had to cut this week short, but then I'm going to be every Tuesday again then at 6 o'clock.
fantastic? All right. Listen, thank you very much, Chris, for coming on. I'm gonna have to download whatnot and
It's
see what this is all about because it's
good fun. It's great for sourcing.
all
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much. Have a good
Thanks
evening.
for having me, mate.
Cheers. See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you.